for the semester. We had a good time together, steadily but surely. Here we are. We've had some content. This is main campus rationalism, an elective 2023 first semester. We have had to engage the course outline first, then we looked at the question of knowledge, what it is, how we come to know, how we justify our claims of knowledge as part of the introductory sessions in person. But you have even done some group work on that, intentionally so that you participate in knowing why that problem is even interesting at all for us as philosophers and what the relevance is to practical life. So you saw that. And then we also did a discussion of rational, irrational, non-rational, also part of the introductory content. But you have even done a group work on that. It's a group of you did your group work on that question to show that what is rational and irrational and non-rational may not necessarily represent rationalism as we understand it in the technical sense of it, as an epistemological position. It's important not to think that as soon as you see the label rational, or if the empiricist is also rationalist in a certain sense of it, you don't confuse that to mean that the empiricist is adopting a rationalist position. My point then is you have to understand the generic sense of the word rational, being evaluative, examining matters, question asking posture. It's a rational activity. Philosophy itself is a rational activity. When we say that, we don't mean that it is only rationalists in the epistemological sense of it that do philosophy. No, we are saying something else. So that clarity has to come. And then I referenced the Majid paper, and I hope that people have read it, because you will need it to even see why, in his view, the supernatural may not necessarily be non-rational, as it has been regarded in what Western thought. At least if you don't know at all, you know that the logical positivists had a posture for concepts that are, in their view, not subject to their verification principle. So if it is not a relation of idea, or a matter of fact, then it is nonsense, cognitively meaningless, and therefore should be thrown out. So matters of metaphysics and ethics and what have you, which in their view, who are these logical positivists, analytic thinkers, thought that these such statements or such supposed statements are non-statements because they are not cognitively meaningful. They don't have objective truth, blah, blah, blah. Now, you will see that that paper, the Majid paper there, which discusses supernaturalism and rationalism and supernaturalism. He used their own argument, the Western thought's argument, to show that what is beyond the physical, in other words, what we would consider to be metaphysical, need not necessarily be considered an irrational or non-rational concept. It can still be subjected to what? Reason or rationality in that sense of it. So that is, there again, you see the play on the words rational, irrational, non-rational, what have you. And I expect that students will engage that content. Just in case you are not sure of what at all I'm talking about in terms of reference, go to your Sakai, which I'm trying to share now, and see that there are resources put there for you. The reason why those resources are there is because you should engage them. So you see I've put some stuff there for you. The Majid paper is easily accessible. You can read it to enrich that your essay that you did on rationalism, irrationalism, non-rationalism. So the group works well for that. Then a third concern, or if you like, emphasis we have given in the course. This is an elective called rationalism. So you see, I'm sharing your course outline. Please watch. You'll see that you are expected to have some good content on where are we? The problem of knowledge. I've said that the rationality, non-rationality, rationality. I just check that and see. Majid paper is there. rationality, supernaturalism, and human. What is the other one? Okay. I think it should be human reason, which we can just confirm that. Okay. Then from there, we focus more on the rationalist thesis, which will be the new content that you are now seeing in level 300. Thesis proper, opening out the various versions. See that thesis is plural here, not singular. So it is not how you have generically understood the technical sense of the word rationalism since you started level 100. No, here we are going into the entrails. We open them and we try to be a little bit more detailed and intricate than how we had been in our gross and root distinction of empirical or the empiricist view from the rationalist since level 100. Here, we took them the particular details that make some kind of variation between different versions, different theses, doctrines, viewpoints of what rationalism. This is where we dwelt a bit more for weeks, at least, looking at the innate concept thesis, innate knowledge thesis, intuition, deduction thesis, what it stands for, what it hasn't said, the various versions they haven't said, what they imply, why you can't equate the superiority of reason thesis and the indispensability of reason thesis. You see, all these things I'm saying should now be sitting in place for you. They are now falling in place. If they are not clear to you, then you haven't engaged the course. You still have some few weeks to set up. Okay? But you now see where to situate that discussion, various versions of them, why you don't need to necessarily subscribe to the superiority of reason thesis or necessarily subscribe to indispensability of reason thesis and still qualify legitimately to be called what? A rationalist. All you need is at least one of the main core theses I've learned. Okay, you get that content also there. Then lecture 5 focused on Plato's rationalism, which was implicit when we were looking at the rationalist thesis, each one of them. We tried to link those specific theses to some authors because we have seen them in the past. Now levels 100 and 200, we had seen some Plato, quite a lot of them, some Descartes, and so on and so forth. So we had already established some connections and links, but when we took the rationalism of Plato proper, we now delved into every particular detail that we think we can distill to say that, well, this is why we would want to call him, say, for example, innate concept thesis holder as a rationalist, or perhaps we might even extend it to innate knowledge, or we might still think of him to an extent as an intuition deduction thesis. Why is the issue? Why do you say what you say? Not just saying them. Remember that in all those instances, we try to establish practical connections. So we even went into religion, faith matters. We sometimes go into traditional beliefs that have intonations in what we are doing. The view that before I was a blood clot in my mother's womb, God knew me, would sound what? Rational. Which type? Innate knowledge. God knew and had ordained me to be prophet unto the nation. Jeremiah and I'm quoting. Okay? So you see that the person is saying that God already had a mandate for me. I'm born to be X, Y, Z. Jesus said, one of you will betray me, blah, blah, blah. I was there. So who will go? All those things we said. So the person came, knew that I would die. My time is not up yet, woman. Don't ask me to be doing miracles now. This is not the time. It means the person knew knowledge, time, and what he should do when. When they wanted to kill, he said, no. He just walked through them and left because he knew his time had not come. But when it was time for him, he was telling you that quickly, do what you want to do quickly. That's an expression of a kind of what? Inborn knowledge. Why do we say inborn? Because we know of a story of something happening in heaven before he was even born, before his birth was announced. Unto us a child is born, to us a son is given. So all those put together should tell us that not only in typical philosophical settings, but what we would even consider as a religion or faith can speak to the matter. So we went also to traditional settings like believes like nobody teaches the child who the supreme being is, showing that it means that the child already knows, the child, not the grown-up, already knows. Okay, the child already knows that. Then it sinks somewhat into the supposed innate knowledge, telling us then that the rationalist empiricist thing is not necessarily a Western, thing after all. There are clarity, or better still, there are aspects of non-Western thought that embraces perhaps an even wider way of what acquiring knowledge, not just what has been given as what the Western. Okay. Now, whilst we were thinking about all that, we said we should look out for possible critiques that one could raise against those who argue for rationalists or rationalism of a kind, whether intuition, deduction, innate knowledge, or innate concept. So Plato's discussion was the one we had, and I kept pointing you to Locke's or empiricists like Locke and their rejection of innateness, the grounds for that rejection, and what you make of their rejection of such innateness. That is not something that has to necessarily be discussed, but you have to know that to enrich your understanding of innate ideas or innate knowledge or the concept of innateness proper. If we have to, then it will become a group work and people will engage it. If we don't have to, you have to do that search for yourself. If there is time, we can put it into our discussion, but we don't have to put everything. So take note of the mode of engagement again. I put it in your slide for a reason, on your course outline for a reason. So you are properly guided. You are going to do general research as part of the readings. The course will be delivered in person, blah, 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 in the hybrid mode, blah, blah, blah. Where is it? Instruction will therefore be supported with resources, announcement, blah, blah, blah. Management. Oh, who has unmuted? Who has unmuted their mic? Eduro. I said, Oduro. See that when I mute you, the background is fine. Please don't unmute. I know it's not deliberate. You do some reading by yourself. What have we done so far? Look on my screen now. We have some assessment 1 done. We have done some assessment 2. My intention is to make you do the midterm test for 20% and then a group presentation for 10%. The group work, we intend that you present them in the 9th week. Okay, this is the 7th week. So that should tell you after your IA, the 8th week, and you do the 9th week presentation and you are good to go. So back to where we had to go. What I did was a quick summary to put people on their toes. You'll see what we have left. Not too much, but very heavy content. That's why I'm asking you to do some of the work yourself so that the little that, not little, but what we discuss will be useful to you. We're going to do Descartes, rationalism. What about Descartes' philosophy you would consider as rationalist? And where you will place him under the rationalist thesis, the plural thesis, which one of them and why? Maybe I should just be charitable a little and engage you on some of the criticisms raised by Locke and empiricists generally against Plato's innate ideas or the theory of innate ideas proper. And then the second half will now delve into Descartes' rationalism. Then we have 2 main substantive topics left, each of them very heavy. The problem of certainty, and then understanding Kant's synthetic a priori truth, his argument for transcendental idealism, a priori categories of the understanding, and stuff like that. It's quite heavy, but we will do fine if we work alongside. So let's do some Locke critique and then come back to Descartes' rationalism. Someone quickly summarize Plato's rationalism, and then it will help us find the possible, reaction or critique that if I'm non-rationalist, I can raise quickly. So let's do the Plato rationalism first. Summarize. Thank you, Francisco. Go ahead.
I don't know.
Hello, sir. Go ahead.
We believe the only
Please speak
outlet
up
of
just a little bit more. Could you kindly speak up just a little bit more? I can't hear you.
right. I was saying that potato,
Uh-huh.
we believe that the only things that we can really know is being. So
Yes.
he said we have no real knowledge of this physical world, and then we only have an opinion,
Yes.
but not knowledge.
Please, are you done?
No, please, I'm not done.
Uh-huh. Go on then. You want help?
Yes, please.
Thank you then. So real knowledge is not physical. Real knowledge is being, not becoming. So anything that is real, not anything that is becoming something. And what is not physical, etc. I've done all of that. Then he goes further to say what? And so I don't want to crucify your face. Is it rather, yeah? Go ahead.
Yes, please. Doc, please, Plato says that we are held back from knowing the absolute truth of forms because of the constant distraction of the body. He also says that on the day that our soul will be set free or separated from the body, only then will it come into the uninterrupted enjoyment of absolute knowledge of the world of truth and reality. The soul will be free from the body's contaminations. Please, that's what I can recollect.
Very good. It's a good recollection. And on the note of recollection, I think someone will know, can add something else that Plato says. So let me get, very good. That's better. Now the class is alive. So I'll take Janet's hands went up earlier. Janet, go ahead, please. These are all to help us get to a certain stage. Then we can now start doing a critique as if we were empiricists or Locke. Okay, so go ahead, Janet.
So Plato says that he believes in the theory of recollection. So he says the soul has already been on earth. So we already know some things and they are in it. And as a result of birth, we have forgotten those ideas he perceives we know. So it's through recollection that able to perceive some of the things we already know.
Yo, thank you very much. That's 80% correct. Some are Hindu and some are Hare Krishna and other faiths, what you said. So Plato perhaps has not said directly that we have already been on earth. No, that's reincarnation. But he's saying that we already know. So perhaps we have not been on earth in flesh, but we have, wherever we were, we couldn't have been there as a body because we take on body when mommy pushes us out of her tummy into the physical world. But before that, before the forms, whatever he means by forms is what concept ideas, we already have clear knowledge, clear concepts of what justice, say, beauty, right, good. Not everything, but certain fundamental truths were already inscribed in our minds. And mind here is not brain. So that's why people would like to say in our soul or our spirit man, whatever that is. If you don't believe it, those who are not people of faith, when you say those things, they get put off. Well, whatever you want to label it as, reason, mind, intellect, but definitely not the brain, because the brain has been crushed under that rubble there. The physical, whitish jelly-like fluid, jelly-like substance in your head. when the earthquake happened at Turkey, apologies, if it falls on people, that one too will dismantle and crash and become nyama pacha, but not the soul, not the non-physical issue, says Plato. So whatever label you want to give to that, that is what he's saying. That entity, some say soul, some say spirit, some say mind, some say reason, some say intellect. Whichever label, dear friends, according to Plato, that one comes into this physical world and take on body, the physical world of appearance, which your friend says is not real, according to Plato. And he's right. Takes on this physical body, but already had certain fundamental truths, certain fundamental concepts, certain fundamental ideas, if you like, already inscribed there. And that is what we call innate ideas. Thank you so much, my dear Janet. Now I'll take Magdalene. Magdalene, please, what else is true of?
Okay, Madam, they've said it all I wanted to say, they've said it all.
Okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Samuel, do you have some addition? Then now we can start looking at what the possible critiques are if you were empiricist and you wanted to examine Plato's rationalism, especially his theory of innateness, which is very strong an argument that you make. If you argued as an intuition deduction thesis, then you can say that, oh, I intuited, like what Descartes did. It might not be something you can easily contend with, because the person says, I think, therefore I am. So if I want to even doubt that I exist, that's Descartes. I have to exist to do the doubting. I have to exist as something, maybe not body, because body is physical, and we have already doubted what is given to us in sensation. But I have to exist as something so that I can even doubt that I exist. And so you may be empiricist, but you may not easily be able to rubbish such a view, at least for the foundation. The challenge is you can't easily embrace innate ideas, the theory of innate ideas like that, if you don't subscribe to the rationalist viewpoint. So if you were an empiricist, would you easily agree to Plato? No. So what does Locke say if you read it? Did anyone read anything? His criticism against Plato's theory of innate ideas. Only 2 hands. Only 3. We have 140 plus students currently signed up. As for those on the site, let me go and see for today. Please put up your hand, because I have been saying this. If you play the recordings, you see, I'll say you have to engage to find what Locke would say to this. I even walked you through some of them because of what Plato says and the question that will immediately come to mind. So I want more hands up. Try and reflect a little. Then I would start taking the responses. Are they still 3 hands? Oh, I don't want only 3 hands. That's why I'm not doing. On the course side, you are 280 students. Esla, tell us what you think Locke will say or react to. You are muted, my lady.
Doc, please, I think John Locke would say that per his belief, he thinks human beings were born or have their minds empty, like there was nothing on their minds when they were born. Yeah, so if Plato is saying you can the mind, you are able to get ideas innately, John Locke would say that you didn't have anything on your mind, so where did you get it from? Like, as an empiricist, he would say that there was nothing on your mind. That's the tabula rasa. There was nothing there. So where did you get it from? Yeah.
Okay, very good. That's a good start. So Locke insists that the mind is a tabula rasa from birth. Now, that is another view Locke is presenting. For him to present that and for people to tend to listen to him at all, he should have succeeded in showing that the other alternative is not correct before you propose a response. Otherwise, you don't fix something that is not broken. So he has to show that there is a problem that he can detect with what Plato is suggesting. And we say it that way because after all, Plato was, in terms of time, was present hundreds of years, if you like, before John Locke. So if we appeal to Lockean reaction, it will definitely be after you have read Plato and you think that no. All these things Plato is saying, I can raise this problem and that problem with it. And so then I think that I want to critique that and then propose an alternative. So what he says about the mind being a tabula rasa from birth, empty slate, which you have rightly referenced, is true. That's what he says. But he says that after he has done a critique of what he thinks Plato's view falls short of. Okay, so let's engage that. Okay, can anyone else continue for me? Thank you. I want to take just a minute. So I see Francis Kofi's hand. So I just took Esla. I'll take Francis Kofi. We'll come back to Janet, Mensa, and Magdalene. Then you put your surname there. Okay. Go ahead, Francis Kofi.
Hello, Doc.
Yes, sir.
For John Locke, he believes that the mind does not have any ideas. So sensory knowledge is the only knowledge we can have.
Very good. Why? That's fine, but why? Why wouldn't he agree with Plato? He has a problem with Plato's view first. See, when I say Plato, the view that we have ideas that are in it, he has a problem with that. That is the first thing. So it is because of those problems, those challenges he has with the view that we had certain ideas before coming and how it has been argued for. That is what will make him say, I don't think that this one is sustainable or this one has a so and so and so challenge. Then after we say, I think mine is a better alternative, my view, because of so and so. So we want to know what problems he has with Plato, not what he proposes. Because he won't propose anything if there wasn't anything wrong with Plato. What he's proposing is an alternative, contrary to Plato's view. So what challenge does he have with Plato's view? That's what I'm asking. Okay. Haven't read my class. Caleb, go ahead. But thank you for the effort. Afterwards, I see Deborah to and Elijah Chamba. Caleb, go ahead. Go ahead quickly, please. Is what I projected confusing? You want to read it a little before? No, go ahead.
No, madam, please. Another critique by John Locke is why children behave the way they behave sometimes, because children don't behave rational sometimes. They go naked, they
Everybody write that
do
down.
things irrational. So why
Everybody
do they?
write that down. Sorry, sir. Continue.
Madam, please, should I continue?
Yeah, please, sir. Sorry, I'm telling people to write it down because they won't see that. Perhaps some may not see that. That is one very important point being made.
Okay, so he asked that if there are innate ideas, why would a child do certain things that are irrational? They go naked, they go outside naked, they pick things from the floor and eat it without washing it. They do things irrational. So if knowledge, certain knowledges are innate, why would a children behave the way they behave? That's the critique.
Very good. Why did he pick on children? What you have said is very correct, but I want us to connect it in a way that everyone knows. Why is he talking about children? Does anybody want
Because
the point?
madam,
Bernard, please, can I answer?
Is that Elijah?
Yes, please.
Okay, Caleb, let's hear Elijah. We'll come back. Okay, thank you. Elijah, go ahead.
Locke assumed that if innate and if knowledge is innate, then it should be universal. So if it is universal, then why is it that children cannot think for themselves? So that's how. And then even madmen and women, they can't think for themselves. He used that as an example.
Thank you. That's also a very good effort. I've mentioned universality. Very good. I'll still bring some clarity to the matter, but I want to get it from you. I'm happy so far, though, because it tells me that people did some reading around. I've heard mad people, children, universality, all bordering on how Locke has a challenge with the innate ideas thing. Let's see what Deborah would say. Thank you, Elijah. Deborah, let me hear you. You are Locke. What problem do you have with Plato?
Okay, madam, please. According to Locke, sorry, he says that if there are any innate ideas, then they have to be the same for everybody. They have to be in everyone's minds. So he questions the fact that the so-called innate ideas of self, substance, and God are known differently by people. If it is innately, then everyone has to get the same thing. But here is a case that everyone's opinions about those thoughts are different.
Very good. Now, make notes, people. I want to help you. All the points that are being made by Locke have been captured some way, somehow by you. Of course, not all of them, most of them. But I think that it is a question of understanding what the discourse is. So make your notes as I try my best to help you there. You see, Plato says, and why are we picking on Plato? Because we have engaged him and we know that he believes in innate knowledge, innate concept. His argument is this. There are certain truths that people know by virtue of their rational nature. Rational nature. Being human beings, rationality is not chairs and tables and fans and monkeys, according to Plato. Remember, even among the human beings, he tells you about what the philosopher king, the one who is led by reason, should be the one who rules. Because if the person is led by appetite, he will not rule well. If he's led by emotions, the listing Abashet, Ayano, the listing will take off his shirt and be fighting. He will not have control. That's Plato, even amongst rational beings. Okay. The only advantage is that if you are rational, a rational being, human being, no matter how emotive you get, reason will finally come. I mean, there's reason also there. So you have reason, appetite, and emotions. But the philosopher king, the one who is always reflecting, asking questions, the one that has reason, always leading emotions and appetite. So they will not steal because they want to feed. They will reflect and know that it's wrong to steal all the resources of the nation, take blah, blah, blah. So these are all discussions Plato is having, even in the socio-political philosophy, democracy and whatever, why he rejects democracy then as practice, as a correct way. He thinks it's base. It will allow anybody and everybody, as far as they are human beings, to be making decisions. I want you to see something about Plato's thoughts. So when he talks about you knowing something, or if rationalists say that you know by your rational nature as a human being, of course, variations. That's why I gave you all those backgrounds. Plato already admits that not all human beings behave the same way. He talks about the philosopher king. So let me show you the critique, and then let me show you how, if you do a clear understanding of Plato, perhaps you are able to respond to those queries. What is the concern, first and foremost? Plato says, you know something by your rational nature makes you rationalist. Okay, rationalist because there are certain truths or knowledge you know by your nature as a rational being, a human being. So the first critique, and we haven't built on that, just that generates a critique. That is where the talk about children and idiots is coming from, like mentalistic. They are human beings, aren't they? Yes, they are. This is why Locke is picking children. And if like Chamba said that one, Elijah, is the reference what? Mad people, mentally sick, excuse me, plus children, because they are also human beings. But according to Locke, there comes Locke, but they don't express knowledge of those innate ideas that we have already referenced. In the slide I projected, you see speculative principles, you see practical principles. Don't let them scare big words, nothing much. Remember the concept of metaphysics, causality, the good, the notion of substance, mind, matter. This is a bit more technical. Okay, when we looked at them, we saw the truths that, or the propositions that are supposedly known innately. Locke's argument is that children and mad people, they are not children now. They are grown, but they are not mentally sound. They don't express knowledge of those so-called innate ideas of, say, the good, the right. So the mad person, apologies, can go around naked, even in public. Naked crowd, maybe we say those of us who claim we are not mad. Some to go around naked and think it is clay queen. So let's give some space. The mad person can chase someone, the one that happened at Circle that we don't want to repeat. Picked a stone and threw at the guy. The other guy was, one who and killed the person. And killed the person, killing. And when she finished, she was sitting there, mad. This killing is wrong that Plato says we who? Rational beings, human beings, rationality, the quality of humanness, at least in Plato's philosophy. If we all know that killing indiscriminately is wrong, why is that mad woman? So I want to use killing so that I don't just heading or removing your clothing. Everyone will not see the gravity of the matter. But Locke's argument is that the mad person is walking around spitting all over the place, spitting on people in the car. Not you. Please disable your thing. We will hear your private conversation. You keep your thing muted. Or if you know that it will be a mistake, tell yourself that you are in a physical class lecture or you won't talk whilst there. That's all. If your mic goes off unintentionally, you speak because you are in class. You talk when you're in class, no. That 1 minute talk, you may miss something and then you won't understand the whole thing. And something that should be criticizing Plato, you rather be saying it as if it's supportive, or something that should be supporting Plato, you think you are criticizing. And then you will be getting your essays from. We don't want that. Okay, I beg you, please. So I'm saying that the mad person is behaving, says Locke, in a way that doesn't suggest that she already knows in it. She already knows that killing indiscriminately is wrong. How she's behaving doesn't show that. And that is the argument of John Locke, the first level. He goes further to say, not only children and idiots don't know. In other words, the thing that you say is universal to all humans, rational humans, by their nature, they already know. That's the argument of Plato. Locke is showing you that there are human beings, like children and idiots, who do not express knowledge. So they do things that doesn't show that they know that, for example, killing indiscriminately is wrong, that it is wrong to walk around uncovered. for example, that it is ethically wrong to go and take that which is not yours. Children take toffees all over the place. They can even take your phone and put into water and splash it. They say bubbles and be happy. And they don't see that they've done anything wrong. Children can say, I saw Uncle Sausage. And you are so embarrassed, keep quiet. And they are saying it. You don't see anything wrong with that. Meanwhile, you, an adult, knows that. So this is ethical. And then I also use some metaphysical concept to show you. Now, why was Locke saying that? Just to punch holes into the idea that every human being, rational human being, by the nature of rationality, already knows certain basic concepts, fundamental concepts, innate concepts. Okay, so he does that. That's the first level. Plato has to respond to that. Second, I'll give some indications on the response. We don't have to do all the thinking for you. So we'll try and discuss it, but listen to that one because it came from your colleagues. Just that it's not too clear. Some two are rather turning it upside down. So I want to have two. Even where we assume, this is still Locke, if we were to assume that everyone knows it universally, it doesn't prove, that's what I've highlighted, says Locke, it doesn't prove that just by that knowledge, universal knowledge of it, it means it was innate. Locke says no, not necessarily. We could have learned it. Like we've learned so many things, and we all do it as human beings all over the world. It could have been learned, socialization. Like the way we are all working towards learning to have a democracy. Like we have all learned now to wear clothing, for example. But people in the previous, they would call them savages. They didn't wear clothing. But we can learn. So the universality of it, this is law. One of you talked about universality. I was trying to help. Even the fact that there are such universally applicable, if you like, better still, universally known basic truths like it is wrong to kill indiscriminately, which we say everybody knows that. Don't teach anyone. Their current conception will say nobody teaches the child. But Locke is saying that, look, we can all learn it. The child wouldn't cover himself from childhood until he or she grows to a certain age and is conscious. When the child is born and mommy is putting powder, he raises his leg and singing, talking, not covering anything until he grows a little, comes to learn that this is pee-pee. Don't show pee-pee. If you show pee-pee in public, this is the so now 2 years or 3 years, the child is running away when uncle Super Chicha is coming, going to cover his pee-pee. Locke says we learn it. So the fact that even if he was to accept that, well, all rational human beings, children and mad people alike, do that cramp one. It could be just a reason, which is what? That we learned it. So we have been socialized into doing that. Not that it was already imprinted. That was the point of the universalism thing. That's the second level. You have to react to each one of them. What is the third one? Anybody? Do you have an addition? Okay, now you have to read. You see this text? I want to share it with you. I just pulled it from the internet. I just pulled it. It's not anything far away beyond that you read. It's an 8-page paper. I'll share it. Or better still, just Google Locke's critique of Plato. You'll get, it's not anything because this is a seminar text accessible to everyone. Discussion that has gone on. So you can read and see what it is that is going. Maybe we should do some few readings here and there. But the reaction you can give immediately to the first two that I have highlighted is what? Let me see if someone is thinking deeply about it. What can you say in reaction to the fact that children and mad people don't know it or don't express knowledge? He said they don't show that they already know that killing is wrong, for example, killing indiscriminately is wrong. Deborah, your hand is up. Deborah, please, your hand is up. Did you intend to react or your hand shot up mistakenly? Anybody? What will you say in defense of Plato? What will you say in defense of Plato? Anyone? Hey, nobody will defend Plato here. Think about it deeply. Plato is an essentialist. Okay, Saki, Beatrice.
Hello, Doc.
You can't raise your hand there. Who is talking? Is this Saki, Beatrice? The voice is from a male. Someone try, go ahead.
Look.
But please, I can say that maybe the child Locke may say that the child could have done that act, or that mad person could have done that maybe because he thinks doing that at that moment is best for him, or he seems to be okay. That's why he's doing that. That's my view.
Thank you. I didn't hear all of what you said. I'm not even sure who was speaking. Is it Samuel? I think there was an echo. But it's fine. Yo, it's fine. Let's hear. I see a hand up now. Let me hear Rachel also. Then I'll come to, I see 3 hands now. So after Rachel, I'll come to Beatrice. Go ahead, Rachel.
Dr. Mouse.
Yes, my lady.
Plato says that since the body is not yet, the soul is not yet separated from the body, it puts a limitation of him knowing things ultimately.
So if I were Plato's follower, I could say this. It has defended him. He says, but the body is obstructing the view of the soul, the one that already has the inscription. So because of the body, the soul can't even see clearly. And that is part of Plato's philosophy. He says that's why it is the one that is constantly suppressing the body and its sensibilities, the philosopher. That has a better view, The philosopher is the one who meditates. So those of you who do meditation or waiting or chanting, whichever church or religious body we are talking about. See the Islamic group that they do the fast, the Ramadan fast or some other various fasts. It is to suppress as much as you can the physical. Catholic folks, I'm told, cannot even do the one that you hate yourself, sort of, just so that you atone for something. All these are what supposed to tone down the infiltrations and corruptions of the body. Plato says it is because what the soul clearly can see. Remember, Paul, I said all this. I give you the parallelism so that you can relate. Don't think that it's far away. Paul says the good I want to do, I can do. Paul of the New Testament. It is the evil I don't want to do. That is all that I'm doing all the time. Oh, wretched man that I am. What is he saying? So that is why he tells you when he dies, for me to live is Christ, Paul. To die is gain. When I die, I've gained. That was what we emphasized when we discussed death as a joyous day for a true thinker or philosopher, or if you like, spiritualist. Because then all the obstructions from the body will cease. And then the non-physical, I say non-physical all the time, because I don't want to sound too, religion, but the soul, the spirit, whichever one you use, will be free to now commune with God, who is spirit, not flesh. The point I'm making with all this illustration, depending on the various faiths that you have, is this. Plato can answer that question easy, unless you don't understand his philosophy. He says, things have essence, essentially. So the child, just like the example I gave you with the egg and the chicken at the lecture, the physical lecture, I told you, if you eat your eggs before they are hatched, you are eating whole chicken. So you can eat 6 eggs. You are a poultry farmer. The hen lays 21 eggs. You go and take 6 in the morning and fry. In the evening, 6 and fry. These are your chicken that are going to hatch that you are eating like that. So you ate 6 chicken in the morning, 6 in the evening. When your other colleague farmer managed 1 for the day and is still healthy, now he has 20 left. The day his chicks the eggs will hatch and you have chicken, you will see that you will be jealous. But you were eating your whole chickens. Essentially, that is what you were doing. Just that you saw some white balls, small white balls on your plate. But what you had were chickens. Plato says the essence of a thing. So the child hasn't matured to express the full potential of what he or she is. That's another way of dealing with it. But essentially, the child knows. That's as to what sister said. What did sister say? Oh, the child may know and the physical body may be obstructing her view. She needs to get accustomed to this physical world and its obstruction to now be able to suppress it. The grown-up now knows the physical world and how it corrupts and infiltrates. He or she has built shock absorbers, defenses, so she's able to overcome the brothers, the sister's body that she's showing. He's strong, he has matured in the Lord. You can't come and use your body to cause him to fall. He has matured. But the child hasn't. He's still growing. So you can overlook a lot of things. It doesn't mean she doesn't know. She knows. He knows. This can be a response from Plato. That's one. That's what sister said. The second one I'm adding is because Plato is an essentialist, he can tell you that the child essentially knows the essence. It's not the physical, what you are seeing. So she can know, and yet it hasn't matured in her. Just like the egg on your table can be the egg of a snake. You keep hatching it. Like I told you in class, the guy you are working with is a sniper. Sniper. Perhaps you just haven't given yourself time to look at what he or she is essentially speaking. All you are interested in the accidental, the way the shape is. This egg, it's golden. Wow, it's oval in shape, and this and that. It will hatch. The guy says something. Oh, you're more jatabi you. You have gone for the female daughter of the lion. She will grow. Right now, she's the baby. She will grow. A lion's roar. You are a cat. Go and look for cat. You have gone to look for the lion's daughter. Figurative speech. You are grooming her at home. And every day you say, your hair is smooth. It will grow. And one morning, by the time you wake up and say, please, I'll eat popon soup and bread. You say, rah, on you. You say, what? Am I the way you're talking to? You are a cat. You went to look for the lion's daughter. It's figurative. Roll it all back. Essentially, it is there. Plato can answer that. And he's done. Then the third one that may also deal not only with the critique from the children, but the one for the adult. As a mad person. I don't say mad in a derogatory way, okay? People, excuse me, I'm very sensitive. But we want to capture what Plato is saying. It's not someone who is sick that, mentally sick or something. He even uses idiot in addition. There's a certain point we are making with that language. Okay, so bear with us. Now, you, the grown-up, you and I, who say we are not sick, we are not mad, we are not children. Is it everything we know to be right that we do? Right at that point. Plato can answer that easy. Does knowing necessarily imply doing? Why do you let them, that sugar mommy, my brother, you are the hand. Why do you let the sugar mommy drop you at the junction? Why don't you bring her home and tell your friends that, oh, this is my new girlfriend, someone who can be your grandmother? I'm not afraid. I'm not sure I'm talking to anybody in the class. I just want to show you the point. The person hides it. Which thief? I mean, real thief, not someone who is sick in the head. Which thief will come and stand by you and say, I'm the one taking your phone. I'm stealing it. No, you know. Plato's response is that you know already, but you don't do necessarily. Please understand that. That's why perhaps Plato will say, if it is true knowledge that you have acquired, you will do virtue. But because of this obstruction of the body, people know the right thing. I tell you, those who are adding zeros to figures in the office, you think they go and call all the office police and say, come and sit down. Today, I want to add 3 zeros so that the account will not balance. I'll get extra and share. It's not publicly done. They hide it. Why do we have a whole attorney general and whatever? What's the other one? Auditor general. To go and uncover what is covered. People know that it is wrong. They do it and cover up all over the place. Church, mosque, traditional fetish priests, everybody. Religion to politics to culture. Only grace is keeping all of us. God is watching us deep. Maybe we falter once in a while and say, hey, they come back. But some them say swimming, they are swimming in it, knowing very well that the man is somebody's husband. You say you don't know. You don't know that it is wrong. Go and take that which is not yours. Plato says people already know. Even those that you didn't include, you didn't include in category. Not children, not mad people. So people that are correct, quote and unquote, not mad, and they are grown to. You go and see, then the car is parked somewhere. I'm using ethical and practical, the one we call practical and speculative truths. Those that Plato says we already know. That's why I'm using a lot of ethical examples. They know that killing is wrong. They are doing it. Indiscriminate killing. The guy saw me, add figures. If I don't kill him, he will go and expose. So you set someone, you know that the property is for this, your stepdaughter's father. The father left the house for you and left this one for the girl. You know, pa, you are putting poison in the girl's food. What you are doing, you go and call everybody, hey, neighbors, come on. Today, I want to put poison in the goosey stew for my stepdaughter. Is that what you do? You do what you know very well is wrong. That's why you do it under the shade of that. That's Plato's response. So children too can know and do otherwise. Don't go far away. That doesn't mean they didn't know. His theory is innate knowledge, not innate knowing to do. So Uncle Locke, come again. I've defended Plato on 3 grounds on the first one. Now for the universality, it pains me that I have to be doing all. I suppose that I got an inkling from, I think, one of you. Sister Nokasa, what's your name again, please? I play back and see that. My sister who set it up nice with the defense for Plato.
Dr. Mouse, please, is Rachel also.
Yes, it was. There were 3 other hands. They've all gone down. We are Plato thinkers for today. Next week, we'll go to the other side and critique him. Now, the second one on the universality. If Locke says this is the father is universally known, doesn't necessarily prove that it is innate. Well, to an extent, yes. But we ask a question, and I think you can think around it and see whether it makes a lot of sense. What everybody is doing, what do we appeal to? Suppose we all agree that killing is wrong, like indiscriminate killing is wrong, universally. If that is assumed to be the case, the question is, what do we here referring to all the human societies that Locke says everybody learned it, what did we appeal to as a standard to arrive at that universal truth? What? Was it just arbitrary? We were just there and then we decided that it is wrong to kill indiscriminately. There has to be something, a standard that we appeal to arrive at that. And I wish that Locke and his folks, or those who critique the fact that these are innate, is already inscribed there. So when we reflect a little, it helps us to engage. And then when I point it out to a colleague in another culture or another society, he says, well, I think I see reason in what you are saying. He will see the reason because it is already inscribed there in his nature. If you say it's not inscribed there, then what are we appealing to? Those are the points that I think you can develop a bit more. When you read or Google and find more points, you'll be able to do a critique and a counter response to Plato. Just note that knowing may not necessarily imply doing. And I could know and do otherwise because of other motives. And the fact that the physical body is obstructive to clear vision of what is already known can explain why the child, even though may know it, cannot do. He's still getting used to, just like they get used to walking. He's still getting used to this world full of corruption and pain and what have you, to be able to decipher what right is, what something she already knows but has forgotten. And then the idea of essentialism, a child essentially knows but accidentally has forgotten. These are all possible reactions you can give to deal with a very substantive matter of universality and then children and whatever not knowing. Are there any questions, please? Any questions, please? Okay, so read further and then perhaps your group work, next group work will be on that. So you can get more points. If it's a group work, then people will research more, I suspect, and bring in more points to enrich all of us. Yo, Janet, go ahead with your question.
With the example someone gave, you give an example relating to the child and a mad person. So with a mad person, what would be Plato's argument against that?
You and I are not mad. You see, my sister, we presume so. The emphasis for that. Maybe we are, but we don't even know we are. But even when we are not mad, we do things that we know we shouldn't. Sometimes we regret. Does it mean that we didn't know? That's the point. So the mad person may already know, but yet chose otherwise. That's one. Or may already know, but didn't have the capacity to do what they know to be right. That doesn't take away from knowing. You see, the thing is innate knowledge. You are saying they don't act like people who know the thing. I'm saying that people who know to sometimes do proper. Then you see a Christian sister, and the tongues, the size of her tongues, the syllables, makatada bahashata, but the tongues is in her brazier. And you see the tongues, the apple is in the the apple is in the brazier at the exam hall. Why is it in the brazier? You know, brazier, my gentlemen, it's a new book. When you study it, you pass all the rationalism. That's brazier. The apple is in that, people. But she will be catabroing her way there, knowing very well that you shouldn't do that. She's in the washroom, it's on her tie. She will go and say, oh my tummy, I really need to use the washroom. So even the sister escorting her there to monitor her can't go and see her in red, you know, it's a bit some way. So you excuse her. And then she pulls that thing out and on her lap, she's dabbing. Why is she doing all these gimmicks? She already knows it's wrong to do that, but she will do it. So the mad person may know and do otherwise. Why you call mad? It doesn't take away from the fact that he knows. You haven't denied or negated the innateness of it. That's the genetic. Lady Jane, does it help a little, please?
Yes, thank you, Doctor.
Welcome. So you may know and not do, or you may know and don't have the capacity to do it because the thing hasn't matured. Doesn't mean it's not there. So the egg will eventually become chicken or hen. But as it is sitting on the table, it needs to go through a process. And so that process will definitely come. That doesn't mean it wasn't there all this while. It was in it. Essentially, it was a lizard egg. It was never going to become a chicken egg. It was a lizard egg. So as you leave it there, the child will only grow into maturation to express what is already known. The fact that he or she is not expressing it now, that's a critique of love. Doesn't mean it is not there. Okay. Same with my person. Elijah, go ahead.
Yes, madam, please. Per the two, theories, the rationalist and the empiricist. But I can see that in real life, it overlaps. Sometimes it goes in favor of the rationalist. And then sometimes, yeah, that's
Yes, it's a good thing. a good observation to make. You can't have all rationalist approach. God gave us non-physical aspects of our being, and He gave us also what the senses. So if you go and make one prior to the other, then you go through that stress. There are things that, if this is my view, are things that you can never use your physical eyes to understand. Can you ever explain, when I say physical eyes, I mean your senses, what it is that will make someone live at 96, 98, they are still alive? Sitting in the corner, they don't do anything because their legs are tired, their body is tired, they can't walk, they can't open their eyes. Even food, you have to struggle to put 1 teaspoon of porridge in the mouth. You can't eat, but he's not dead. He's not doing anything. They go and dry him in the sun in the morning when the sun comes on, so that the skin doesn't wear off. In the evening, when the sun goes down, they take him outside under the tree to get fresh. He can't move, can't do anything, but he's alive. How can you explain this person's living versus another person? Nothing happened to the person, not heart attack. So you say he doesn't eat well. He's sitting in his room, then the building crumbles down and he's gone. When a lot of lives, one way or the other, depend on him, you say there's nothing. Hey, I have a big problem. There has to be something. It's just we can't unravel what it is. And the life we are living can't be just what we are. You need to all that we are seeing. No, chambers. Some people have learned, my brother. They are doing the learning. The learning is not learning. It's not them. They learn. Someone who doesn't do any learning, just a little scrap here and there, it's gone. No, another opportunity comes back. You have to understand there has to be some mechanism. Just that we are unable to explain it. So faith, different ways of looking at it, principles. Some are not even faith matters, not like I believe that God says, no. Some is just a matter of certain principles, cultural principles, if you like, or personal principles that is guiding them and taking them there. It can't be everything is explainable by the senses. You won't be able to do it. I've heard the news that there is Lassa fever, whatever. Next, now, even the air that we are breathing, we are told is polluted now. Hey, science near, pressure near. If you don't listen to, before you know, they are packing human beings like sardines and taking them to mortuary and burning them. Even your corpse has become a nuisance. People do you remember COVID 2020 people? Even the corpse, those who were married, they have to be given special attack to take the dead body to away. COVID-19. How do you explain it? So it behoves on critical, philosophical, reflective minds like yours and mine to ask those pertinent questions and make those observations that there are certain things they seem to be beyond the physical. There are others you can't use the non-physical to explain them, at least as they are now. Build the roads well. Put traffic light at the junction. It's a physical matter. It's based on observation that junction, a lot of accidents occur there. Don't go and spiritualize that one too. Because otherwise there'll be no traffic light. Maybe if the traffic light is there, whatever is behind the mechanism may work, but it may save some until something else. So you do that which is sensory and you do that which is non-sensory together. So if I'm praying, I pray as if I won't learn. And if I'm learning, so I learn as if prayer doesn't matter. Because the one who created me, I believe, made me doer or gave me two aspects. There are aspects that depend on my senses. When I'm hungry, I don't pray to know I'm hungry. I feel it. So I will eat. When I'm tired, I know if you are getting down the staircase and you get a little dizzy, you feel the dizziness. It's a sensory matter, empirics. But when all of a sudden, from morning to afternoon to Tuesday evening to the same consistent challenge is happening. When you are doing all you can, then you know that no, it's time to pause and deal with it another angle. Okay. So I couldn't agree more with you that it's not something like an exclusive us versus them kind of rationalism versus empiricism. Dana, your microphone is unmuted. Do you want to ask a question? If not, then I help you mute it. Okay. All right. So Elijah, I couldn't agree with you more. Okay. And I think that ultimately, by the time we get to Kant, you'll see that perhaps he might be saying something around that are very observation or experience. When we are using our five senses to experience, it includes a priori categories of the understanding. So the two perhaps work hand in hand, and we shouldn't try to apply experiential truths to the beyond the physical. Okay, so you will make time and engage a further discussion on Locke's critique of innate ideas and how perhaps if you are Plato or rationalist oriented, you can think deeply about some of them. Perhaps you may even have better responses for them. Now we can do Descartes, unless there's any question. If you have a question, please ask. I don't like rushing us through. So you see that I mark time a bit until I'm sure people are ready to talk about Descartes. What makes Descartes a rationalist, please? Are you sleeping again? What makes Descartes a rationalist, please? Anybody? Is there a hand up? Oh, go and respond to it on Sakai. I'm going to open an assessment now. No, I'm not taking a response. So you go to Sakai and finish before 20 minutes, okay? I'll open it now. I'm opening an assessment there now for you. I came with that in mind already, but I thought that people will do A. People want to do A. With me. Please go to Sakai now. You can see that I'm setting the assessment now. You are going to do a quick response. It should last about 15 minutes. It's in-class assessment, 10%. What is the question? Identify and explain briefly any 3 reasons why you will consider Descartes as a rationalist of a certain type. Your response should be between 300 to 400 words. All the best. Add an pledge. Open now. Done. Due 20 minutes. How was it? Unto the Lord be the glory. Okay, so it will be due 3:25. That's so much time. Let me make it. Okay, I'll make it 3:25 so that your signing in and signing out will all be taken care of. Boss, what is it? Don't worry, you do fine. I want to give you marks, that's why. So 3:25 done. Oh dear. What is this? No. Due to shit, sir. It's today, no. Feel free and sign out and go and do it at Sakai. When it's due, it's due. You can use the rest of the time. The time left is mine. People, okay? All the best. Thank you for your time. I will be on because I want to respond to queries just in case they come in. All the best. Yes, please.
Is work their assessment.
Unto the Lord. Boss, I'm setting it, okay? See, assignment 2. Be the glory. Great things. By the time you sign into Sakai to be there. Great things. But I've seen the question already, right? Do you see the number of people left in the class? I'm sure you can see. He has done I want to commend you though for today's class. You did very well. So keep it up and we'll have a good time for the rest of the semester left. This one, City Campus have done this already. The in-class assessment was awesome. I think it was last week or the week before. Unto the Lord. Okay, so you will see the assessment now.
Be the glory.
Yeah, great things he has done. My brother or my sister. This Sunday, soon this Sunday. All the best, everyone. Feel free and exit if you
Madam,
need that. Okay. Please, you are working, don't disturb. Yes, it will start at 3. I opened it at 2:55 for all that. But the work is a 15-minute assessment. But because you open and close, I have given you 25 minutes. I'll grade it. You've seen that I've set it up. All the best, everyone. Feel free to exit if you have to exit to access your phone. It's an assignment too. So when you go, yeah, you will see this. I'm viewing as a student, so I can see this. Yeah, the group work has already been done. I didn't do some, so when you go, you see in-class assessment 10%, 28, and then you get it done now. Within the time scheduled for the course, where you are expected to be online. I stopped the recording now, but I'll be online, okay? So we can generate the link for your revision. All the best.